Hello everyone and welcome to today's IELTS speaking class. My name is Alex and I will be going through some tips relating to the IELTS exam today, and I'll be doing practice as well with students in order to provide development and feedback as we move towards taking the IELTS exam. So welcome to all those who are watching. Apologies for the later start than usual to today's class. But I hope as many people as possible will be able to join us. So I can see that we've been joined on YouTube already by Abby. Hello to you, Abby, and welcome to the class. Let me know if you are watching live on YouTube and Facebook like Abby is. And also let me know where you're watching from. And I will give you a quick shout out in today's class. So we've got Annie Lynn who's joined us. Hello to you, Annie Lynn. Annie Lynn is watching on Facebook. Remya is here as well on YouTube. A very warm welcome to you, Remya. And Abby is watching from Saudi Arabia. Who else have we got today in today's class? Let's see. So Remya is watching from Kerala. Welcome to you, Ramya. Also, we've got Hadis, who is watching from Pakistan on, and she is watching via Facebook. Okay. So who else is part of the class today? Again, just let me know if you are watching live. What we will be doing, as usual, is we will be going through some tips. So today I'll be focusing on part 2. So anyone who has any difficulties with part 2, this is the class for you to give you some support and some tips in terms of how we can make improvements in that area. So I can see we've been joined live in the class by Alice and by Che as well. Welcome to both of you. Asif is watching us from Dubai. Hello to you, Asif. Okay. So as we're getting started up today, let me make you aware of the opportunity for those who are watching the class live on YouTube and Facebook. There is the opportunity to get involved more directly in what we're doing here. You can join us within the class and you can take the opportunity of doing live speaking practice. So to do this, you can join us at, sorry, the wrong information there. To do this, you can join us at Connetics. You can join us and at Swoosh English as well. Of course, you can join us on the scholarship program, and I'll bring up the details for that. By joining the scholarship program, you will get support and development in terms of moving towards your ambitions of living and working in the USA as a nurse. That's what we do here at Swoosh and Connetics, is we provide support in achieving those goals. So just have a look at the banner at the bottom of the screen and you'll find information as to how you can find out more about this opportunity. Okay, so who else is joining us in the class today? Let's see. We've got Jesse who's joined us within the class. Varsha is watching us on YouTube from Sharjah. Good evening to you, Jesse. Great to see you in the class today. Okay, so let's have a look then at the materials that we will be practicing with today. As I said, we're going to be looking at IELTS Speaking Part 2, and we're going to look at some tips in terms of how we can address this part of the test. So with IELTS Part 2, you should expect this part of the exam to last between 3 to 4 minutes. It'll begin with a presentation of a question. You'll have a minute to prepare your response to that question. You should aim to speak for 2 minutes in your response. So let's have a look at this then. One of the issues that students can have at times with IELTS Speaking Part 2 is that they struggle to speak for 2 minutes. So I have some questions for you. I always say aim to speak for 2 minutes, but why? Why is it important that we should aim to speak for 2 minutes in Part 2 of the speaking test? And if we don't speak for the full 2 minutes, which of the criteria will be negatively impacted as a result? So what do we think, guys? What are the answers to these questions? We know that we should be aiming to speak for 2 minutes, but why? What's the reason for this? And what is the impact of us not doing this? So I can see we've been joined by Gurpreet on Facebook. Hello to you, Gurpreet. What do you think? Why do you think it's important that we speak for the 2 minutes in the exam? Okay. So Jesse saying not well planned ideas. Yeah, if we don't plan our ideas well, then that can make it difficult to speak for the 2 minutes. So Gurpreet is saying it lowers task response. Well, for the speaking, there isn't a specific criterion relating to task response, but you're right, it will definitely lower the score that you will get. Alice says fluency. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, fluency will be impacted because if you're not able to speak for an extended period, you're not going to demonstrate as high a level of fluency as you could do. So certainly fluency will be the main criterion that is negatively impacted. But it won't just be fluency. So the reason it's important is that you need to show the examiner that you have the fluency to develop your ideas in a long term. That's what part 2 is called. It's the long term. So the criterion that will be impacted will mainly be fluency. However, the other criteria will be impacted too, because think about it. The less you say, the less variety you're showing in terms of vocabulary, the less variety you're showing in terms of grammar, and also the less variety you're showing in terms of pronunciation features. So the less you produce, the less positive examples there will be for the examiner to be able to give you the higher grades. So it is really important that for part 2, you are speaking for those 2 minutes in order to justify getting a higher score in the exam. So I'm going to go through just a few tips in terms of how we can extend our responses to part 2, because it is something that some speakers struggle with in the exam. So the first tip that I would give is make sure that your notes are clear. So Jesse, you were talking about planning before speaking. It's extremely important that we do that. And I can give some specific guidelines in terms of what your notes should look like. So you should use bullet points. Don't write out full sentences, just use bullet points, because obviously 1 minute is not enough to script your response. And you shouldn't attempt to script your response because it will sound unnatural. But what you should be doing is just writing bullet points. So focus on keywords, nouns, adjectives. That's what you really want on your paper, because then you can refer back to them and use those keywords for ways of extending your speaking. So you may dry up, your mind might go blank for a moment, but then you look back at your paper, you see a keyword, yes, that's right. And then that can help you to keep on speaking. Also, feel free to add extra details. You don't have to just address the questions that are on the card. You can add extra details in order to extend your speaking. That's absolutely fine. Start with the details that are on the card because that's easiest, but use those as points to extend into other areas, just in case you need to do so in order to speak for the full 2 minutes. Another tip to extend your speaking is that you should provide an introduction and also a summary to your talk. So an example of an introduction could be this. Well, first of all, let me say that this is a topic which I find quite interesting, or this is a topic which I don't know a lot about, or this is a topic which I have quite a lot to say about, because so you've got your introduction there, you can use that whatever the question is, just as a way to warm yourself up, just as a way to get speaking. And it's just a nice way to provide a bit of structure as well to your talk. And of course, it can help to extend your talk. And at the end, if you have time, you could provide a little summary. So you could use an expression such as, so in a nutshell, I have to say that, and then just a summary of some of the key points that you've made throughout the talk. Or you could say, overall, I think the most important thing that I would take from this is, and then again, it's a kind of summary, but you're focusing on a key takeaway from what you said during your talk. So you're extending on what's on the roll card by providing that structure, the introduction and the summary. A final tip in terms of extending your speaking is that you can use a past, present, future structure. So what I mean by this is that you can start by talking about how you used to feel about the topic, whatever the topic is. In the past, I was this, I was that, this was what I experienced. Then you move on to talk about how you feel now in regards to the topic. And then you end by talking about how you think you will feel about the topic in the future. So I'm going to look at an example of this in just a moment. So we'll be able to look at that together. But that's the basic structure that you could use. Past, present, future. If you're thinking, oh gosh, what do I say now? Have you spoken about how you feel about the subject in the present? Because a lot of questions are about the past. So have you spoken about the present? If you have you spoken about the future? If the question is about the future, you could go in the other direction. You could talk about how you used to feel about the particular topic or subject that you are talking about. So these are three ways that we can extend. So let's have a look at this now in the context of a specific part 2 question. So how could we use these tips to talk for 2 minutes about the following topic? So this was a topic we looked at last week. Describe a writer you would like to meet. You've got the 3 points there to talk about, and then obviously the 4th point as well. So what do we think? How could we use these tips to extend in relation to this topic? So let me show you an example as to how we could do this. Okay, so first of all, remember clear notes. So the question was about a writer. It was, let's go back to it just to confirm. The question asked me who the writer is, what do I know about the writer, what would I like to find out about them, and why would I like to meet them? So the writer I would like to meet is F. Scott Fitzgerald. He was around in the 1920s during the Jazz Age. He was a contemporary of Ernest Hemingway. He was an alcoholic, quite famously. He wrote The Great Gatsby. That was his most famous novel. He was involved in a tempestuous marriage. They were both alcoholics. They were both creative people. So lots and lots of notes that I've got here in relation to who the person is, why I would like to meet them, because they're an inspiration to me. I think his books are fascinating. I would like to find out about his thoughts at the time. I think the 1920s is a fascinating era as well. So I would love to find out about his experiences of living in the 1920s. And another element to this as well is the way that society was changing. So it'll be really interesting for me to meet him, to go back in time and to find out more about the society of the 1920s. So you can see that the final 2 points, these are extra details that I'm adding to the talk, and they're helping me to extend just in case I need to in order to reach the 2 minutes. As well as using the notes, I can introduce and summarize my talk. So the introduction I've got here, well, first of all, let me say that this is a topic which I have quite a lot to say about because I'm a big fan of literature and I have been since I was a child. So there's an introduction, and then I can go on to talk about my notes that I've already written. And then to summarize, if I have time, I can say, overall, I think the main reason I'd like to meet Fitzgerald is because I believe he was a great writer and because he's a symbol of an era which I find fascinating to think about. So there we have a summary as well. All these points are helping me to extend my answer. And then finally, on top of these points, I can also use the past, present, future structure. So I can add the information. I could say I was first introduced to Fitzgerald's work when I was at secondary school, and I immediately found it engaging. So when I'm answering the first questions, the first bullet points, I can look at the past. Then as I come towards the end of the bullet points, I can talk about the present. I still have his books now, and I regard The Great Gatsby as one of the best novels ever written. And then finally, I can end by talking about the future. I think I'll always return to his work because there's something in his words which I find endlessly inspiring and authentic. So that's another way that I can extend my points by using that structure. So if we use those 3 tips, then we should always be able to express ourselves and extend our ideas and hopefully keep talking for the full 2 minutes. Okay, so let's see how we do then. We're going to do some practice now. I'm going to bring students into the class so that we can do some part 2 practice, and we'll see how we do in terms of building on our ideas and speaking for the full 2 minutes. So I'm going to bring Che into the class. Let's see how we do. Hi there, Che. Oops, no, Che has disappeared. Okay, let me try with Jeremiah. Hi, Jeremiah, are you there? Hello. Okay, so it doesn't seem as if Jeremiah is able to speak at the moment. Let me know in the messages, Jeremiah, if you are having a bit of an issue there. Jesse, let me bring Jesse in. Are you there, Jesse?
Hi, Alex. Yeah, I'm with you.
Hi, congratulations. It works. It works.
I was just waiting, that first 2 did not turn up. Then I said that it can be my chance now.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we do try and bring when new students come in, we do try and bring them in, but sometimes when new students come in, there's problems with technology and there can be issues. But Jesse, I know that when you join, you're always ready, you're always prepared. So so great to have you in the class.
Thank you.
How have you been?
Yes.
So how have you been, Jesse? How have you been over the last week?
It was hectic, but then I just wait for this Friday. Every Friday to attend your class. So yeah,
Brilliant.
I'm very excited. And part 2, I don't remember attending. I used to always take part in part 3, but part 2, when I
Ah,
saw this strategy, I don't know whether I'll be able to talk for next 2 minutes. I doubt.
okay. Well, we shall see. We shall see. Try
Yeah.
if you do find yourself struggling, Jesse, do bear in mind those tips. Think about how you can. It begins obviously with the notes. Make sure your notes are
Yes.
clear. Use bullet points. So if you do have those notes, that should help you. And also, as I was just saying, I find that if I'm running out of ideas for part 2, a great way that I can come up with more things to talk about is to think about tenses. So to think about, okay, if the question is talking about the past or the present, let me talk about the future. How do I think things will change in the future? How do I think my attitudes might change in the future? If the
Yes.
question is about the future, then you could compare how you used to be in the past. So let's see how we do. I reckon you'll be able to keep going.
Thank you.
Okay, so Jesse, I'm going to bring up the question now, and obviously you will have a minute to prepare.
Okay.
So here is the question. Can you see that clearly on your screen?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, Jesse, so you have a minute to prepare your response.
Okay.
Okay, Jesse, you ready to begin?
Okay.
Okay, so please describe an ambition that you've had for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. So today I would like to talk about one ambition which I just wanted to do for a very long time, and that was nursing. And I tell you that this nursing, I started having this passion when my mother, sorry, when my grandmother was ill, and she was admitted in one of the hospitals. And I used to see all the nurses looking after her, and I said that why not take this as a passion and look after my other patients, and that made instigated me. And what I did was, I completed my 12th. I took up the science stream. So one of my friends said that that is not sufficient for you to do nursing. You will have to graduate yourself. So then after completion of my 12th standard, I did my BSc nursing. That is 4 years of nursing, and then I applied for this job. And truly speaking, I got this job. I was overwhelmed, because I always wanted to be a nurse, because it is something I dreamt of. Anything, like, in the medical field, I wanted to look after the patients. I wanted to know how a patient talks to me and how I can solve the patient's problem. And this profession is so vital or important to me is because I tell you, I saved one passenger's life in one when I was traveling from Abu Dhabi to India. So one of the passenger, he collapsed in front of me, and all of a sudden, when I realized that he had a heart, this cardiac arrest, I was, stunned, and then immediately I could save his life. And that proved that how important is this profession to me. Where, see, I could save a life of a person, and also I can talk to a patient when I go to the
Thank you.
hospital.
Thank you very much there, Jesse. No problems. No problems with that 2 minute. In fact, I think you could have kept on speaking for about 10 minutes.
And this is a true story that I saved a passenger's life, when I was near to
Wow.
India.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
That
in the immigration counter, one gentleman, he collapsed in front of me, and I did CPR for 30 minutes, and I could revive him, and today he's alive. And I got
wow.
applaud, and I got a letter from the airlines also. So this profession is very dear to me, from that day onwards.
Absolutely. Well, there's nothing more important than life and death. That must be
I don't know
such a
how could I include everything in that one go in that 2 minutes. I wanted to tell many things, that, but
yeah.
I didn't know. Yeah.
No, it's brilliant. It's brilliant, and that's the point. So you have the fluency to be able to express your ideas and to make your ideas clear, and to develop on your ideas, and that's what
Yeah.
part two is all about. And that's what you were doing, and you could see your natural sort of enthusiasm and energy as you were talking about it, and that's what the examiner needs to see. So the perfect situation with part two is basically what you just demonstrated, is when you get so involved in a story that you forget the time. You're not even thinking about the time. You're just thinking about the ideas that you want to communicate, and that's exactly where you seemed to be when you were talking there. So that's fantastic, because at the start it was a case of you were obviously looking at the points, you were talking about the ambition. You reinterpreted the question slightly because it says an ambition that you have had for a long time, and you talked about an ambition that you had in the past that you've already achieved. But that's okay. That's okay. You reinterpreted it slightly, but the main point is that you want to be able to demonstrate your fluency, and that's clearly what you were able to do. So yeah, no worries there in terms of the 2 minutes, Jesse.
Thank you.
um, yeah, I think yeah, some good use of language. Describe yourself as overwhelmed and stunned. So some less common adjectives you were using there. You use some good sequencing language as well. So just sequences like and then, all of a sudden. So you're providing organization to your speech, which is an important part of fluency and coherence. You're using the past tense accurately, admitted. Um, You used to as well, to refer to obviously a habit in the past. So sometimes people do mix up tenses a little bit, but you were using those accurately. The only points I'd make in terms of slips, just some minor grammatical slips. So you talked about a patient. You said admitted in. Usually, admitted to is usually it depends. It depends a little bit, but admitted to hospital is the expression we would usually use. Yeah. So usually admitted to. I think
Admitted
people,
to.
yeah,
Yeah.
people might use admitted in more kind of in more informally, but the more accepted variant is admitted to. Um, and then also at one stage you said, yeah, I had to graduate. You have to graduate yourself, but graduate is not reflexive. So just I have to graduate or get a degree is, yeah,
Yeah.
in nursing. But that was it really. Oh no, and just the final one. You said one of the passenger, which is a common slip. When you use one of, it's with a countable noun.
Passengers.
Passengers, exactly,
Oh yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. You have corrected me so many times, you know.
It comes up a lot. It comes up a
Yeah,
lot.
it must be because of my tension or something, Alex. I don't know.
I mean, it's not because you're thinking one. Your brain thinks I should use the singular, right? Because you're saying one,
Yes,
but
yes,
but obviously you're saying one of a group.
yes,
So
yes. That I made this mistake previously also, and you corrected me. Yeah,
there you go. But you'll remember for next time, right?
sure, sure, 100%.
Brilliant. Okay, but yeah, really good there, Jesse. You know, particularly with the fluency, the way that you just kept on developing your ideas. So yeah, well done.
Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.
Okay, so really good example there from Jesse. We're going to move on and do some more practice. Alice is asking, what about one get admitted in a college? To get admission to a college, to be admitted. Let me think about this one. To be admitted to college, or to be accepted in a college, to gain admission to a college. Admitted in, it's not wrong, but it's quite informal. And for the IELTS, you want to be neutral in terms of your tone. But yeah, that's what I would say. I'd say gain admission to, or be admitted. But in hospital, yeah, be admitted to a ward or admitted to hospital. Okay, so let's continue. I'm going to bring Dan into the class now. Are you there, Dan?
Hi, sir.
Hi, how are you
Yeah,
doing?
I feel nervous because this is my first time.
Yes, I thought it was the first time. A very warm welcome to you, Dan. How have you been this week so far?
Yeah, I just had a very busy work, and I
Mm,
just got my duties today. And yeah,
mm. Okay. Well, it's great to have you as part of the class. We always love it when new students join us to do some
yeah.
practice. So yeah, let's bring up a new topic for you to look at then, Dan. I'm just going to bring this up now.
Okay.
Okay. I should say, by the way, where are you? Which country are you in at the moment?
Yeah, I'm from Philippines.
Okay, and you're working in the Philippines at the moment?
Yeah, as a
Yeah.
nurse.
Okay. As a nurse, wonderful.
Uh,
Okay. Sorry, Dan. Go on.
oh, nothing. Sorry.
Okay. No problem. Okay, Dan. So, can you see the question on your screen at the moment?
Yes, sir.
Brilliant. Okay, so you've got a minute to prepare your response, and then you should speak for up to 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready to begin, Dan?
I don't know because I cannot think any idea, but let me just try.
Okay, let's try. So please describe a time when you tried to do something but were not very successful.
Okay. It was way back when I was in college and I was organizing a bloodletting activity because before I was an officer at my school, and I tried to contact the Red Cross here in the Philippines and ask them if they can join the program, since they are the one who will get the blood from the people from the students. And unfortunately, they didn't agree with me because they have a schedule on that day. But I tried to make some ways on how would it be um, all right. So I tried to make a solution on how will my bloodletting activity would continue, because I had already passed the letter to my uh, to the to the office, and unfortunately I haven't. Uh, okay, unfortunately I haven't. I didn't make a solution on it, but what I did is I tried to do some activities so that it will. Uh, I tried to do more some activities that would at least. Um, I'm sorry, sir.
That's okay. That's okay. So what's the barrier? Is it just you can't think of ideas? Did you not make the notes?
Actually, yeah, actually, I'm just fabricating this because I cannot think any events that was unsuccessful.
Really?
Mm,
So
yeah,
you've been too successful in your life. That's the problem.
uh,
You know,
maybe.
you know what you should do, Dan, is this is something like sometimes you've got to take a situation and reinterpret it. So what I would have been tempted to do in your situation is actually use this as an example. So you say, right, so one thing that I tried to think of and was not very successful was basically trying to think of a time where I wasn't successful, because I've enjoyed success in most of the things that I've done. And then you can reinterpret the question and talk
Oh,
about
okay.
the fact that you have been successful in the things that you've done means that you're unsuccessful in thinking of something that you've been unsuccessful in. Do you follow the logic?
Okay. Yeah.
So you can
Sorry about that.
reinterpret. No. So you can reinterpret the question in order to make it suit you, because remember, ultimately, this is a test of fluency as much as anything else. And
Yes.
so the important thing is to be able to come up with ideas. So one of the things that I wrote during the beginning of the class is that this is something I don't know much about, because that can be your introduction. So talking about something that I've not been successful in is something that I don't know much about, because I've been very lucky in my life. I've had a lot of support. I've been able to achieve the goals that I wanted to achieve, for example, and then just talk about how successful you've been. And
Okay.
that's not a problem, because you're still showing fluency. You're addressing the question because you've said, to be honest, I don't really have a situation like that. And then you're talking about things which you're more comfortable talking about because they're true. Some people are good at inventing things. So, for example, Alice, who's done practice with us on many occasions, is I've noticed is very good at inventing situations. But some of us, we struggle to invent things. We prefer to talk about real situations. So, if that is the case for you, Dan, just reinterpret the question to make it more
Okay. Next time I'll do
relevant to
that.
you. Yeah, no
Yeah.
worries.
Sorry for
So,
that. But maybe next
no,
time I
no,
can do this.
don't say again in the exam.
I'm sorry.
I didn't hear you. What did you say just then, Dan?
Yeah. Maybe next time I can do this part too.
Yeah, exactly. So what we'll do is I'll bring. We've got a couple of other students in. I'll bring them in, but it's possible, Dan, we might be able to have another go a little bit later. So
Yeah.
stick around, and I'll try and bring you in again a bit later for some more practice. Okay.
No problem. Thank you so
Cheers.
much.
No worries.
Bye.
Take care. Okay. So as Eunice said, yeah, life is a bed of roses. Well, some of us just are very lucky in life, aren't we? Which is a good thing. So before we continue with more practice, just let me alert those if you're watching us live on Facebook and YouTube that you could be joining us live in the class to get extra support and practice with your IELTS exam preparation. If you have a goal of living and working abroad as a nurse in the US, then here we can support you to do that. Just sign up for the scholarship program today. You can see the details on the screen, and I will share the details in the chat box as well. And you could get extra support in achieving your IELTS ambitions. You could also get all of this support possibly for free. So just click on the link in order to find out more information. So we're going to move on to another part 2 speaking topic now, and this is about the city. So let's see. I'm going to bring Alice in to talk about this. Are you there, Alice?
Yes, I am, Alex.
Good, good, good. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Perfect. Glad to hear it. So I did a quick Google search and on admitted to versus admitted in, and admitted to is much more popular than admitted in. Is that the term that you would usually use, the variant, admitted in?
Yeah, I find myself most of the time saying admitted in hospital.
Is that
Or
right?
rather, I have had most people talk about admitted in hospital.
Admitted, yeah, or admitted to. Admitted to is quite a popular one as well.
Okay.
Let me see if I can share with you here. 1 second. Okay. So if I share this, oops. There's a really useful website you can use for stuff like this. So if you're thinking, you know what, I'm not sure of the exact expression, which is
Okay.
correct, which isn't, then yeah. So it's called Ngram Viewer. So all you do is you look at 2 expressions. You've got admitted to and here admitted in, and you'll see admitted in, it does exist, but it's far less common than admitted to.
Okay.
So my advice for the IELTS is always use the more common variants, because sometimes you have language which is not accepted as being standard English. And this would be one of those examples. So yeah, really useful one. It's a Ngram Viewer, it's called, and it's just a good way where you can sort of check how accurate
You say
the language
it's called
is.
what? It's called?
It's called Ngram Viewer. I'll share it in the chat box because it's
Okay.
it is a useful website. Okay, no worries. So Alice, let's do some practice then. Let me bring up that question again so we can have a look at it. Okay, so can you see the question on your screen?
Yes, I can see them now.
Brilliant.
Rather, I can
Okay,
see it now.
you can see it. Fantastic. So you've got a minute then, Alice, as usual, to prepare, and then you should speak for up to 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, Alice, are you ready to begin?
Yes, I will. It's an
Fantastic.
interesting topic, to be precise. I would like to talk about a certain town in my country. Its name is Mombasa. It's found in the southern part of my country. It's a place where most of the tourists from other countries usually visit because it has very nice sceneries. Being next to the ocean, it's a place where one would enjoy, or one can enjoy so much, including the beaches, whereby because of the humidity and the hotness of the city, it has become very popular. And I know very well that even in my country, most people take their holidays over there, and especially at the end of the year during Christmas or over Easter holiday. The last time I visited Mombasa, I was able to visit a place called Mtwapa. It's a place that is full of traditional sceneries, like, for example, where the old people, or rather the old citizens, used to keep all that they were able to get from the European, especially during the colonial period. And this has acted like a museum, whereby whenever one visits, you are able to encounter a lot of tradition, which actually makes any visit over there something that you can actually never forget. And out of these beautiful sceneries, it has been a good way of earning taxes, or other money for my country. And by doing so, the tourism industry has grown because most of the hotels have been built over there. And what this has done, it has improved the town, because a few years back, it used to be very old, full of old buildings. But of late,
Okay,
for
thank
example,
you.
like the last time I went there,
Thank you very much, Alice. That's great. So
it's a tough topic.
it's a tough topic, is it? You seem to have a lot to say about your town, about Mombasa.
Yeah,
It's
it's a popular town.
it's the capital of Kenya, isn't it? Mombasa, is that right?
Not really. The capital city of Kenya is Nairobi, but it's one of the biggest cities in the country as well.
Okay, so it's one of the
Because
major.
we have we also have the ports located over there.
Okay, yeah, Nairobi, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, really interesting stuff there. So similar to Jesse, you were able to develop your points, and you obviously got engaged in the topic, even though you said it was difficult. But you kept on speaking, and you kept on linking your ideas together, and you expanded appropriately. Good variety as well in terms of language and tenses. So you're using some of the passive voice, some of the buildings that have been built. You were using modal verbs, one can enjoy. You were using some nice general expressions as well. So the last time, using time expressions to structure what you were saying. The last time I visited, so that was nice as well. Some nice use of vocabulary describing the city, humidity. Although you did say the hotness, whereas you want to say the heat. Right?
I noticed that I mixed myself up there.
Yeah,
I got mixed up.
Yeah. So the heat is the more standard term to use in that case. But yeah.
Thank you.
So you talked about taxes as well. You said earning taxes. So the idea is really clear, but normally we say generating. The government is generating taxes through.
To be honest, I was looking for that word, but I couldn't get it.
Okay, you had a good word because it was very clear what you were saying. But yeah, okay, good. That's the one you were searching for.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and just a final one as well. So because you said this word a few times, scenery. So scenery is uncountable. So we can talk about the beautiful scenery, the wonderful scenery, but we can't say sceneries because it's an uncountable noun. So yeah, those were the only slips that occurred. Otherwise, yeah. Like I say, really good structure. I thought as well in terms of your fluency as well. You're speaking a little bit more quickly, which is good because I think we don't want it to be too slow, because obviously you've got the 2 minutes, so you want to really demonstrate your full
Was it better
range.
than last week? I remember
Yeah.
last week you mentioned that I need to be a bit more faster.
A bit faster, yeah. It was a bit faster this week. I still would say just a tiny little bit more, but definitely this was a little bit quicker. Just because the only reason I mention it is just because you want it to sound conversational. You know, and again, within those 2 minutes, you don't want to speak too quickly, because if you speak too quickly, then what you say will be unclear. But if you do, let's say if you pause a little bit more than is necessary, then it just means you're limiting the amount you can actually express. So that's it. But it's only, yeah, it was a little bit faster than last week, which is great. So it was fine, really. But if you just wanted to make it slightly quicker, then that would be even better.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Alice.
Thank you.
Cheers. Okay, guys, so we're going to move on to have a look at part 3 now. I can see that Jeremiah has rejoined. Are you able to communicate now? Let me try and bring him in. Are you there, Jeremiah? Okay, it doesn't look like it.
Hello?
So,
Hello?
oh, hello.
I'm sorry.
That's okay, don't worry.
I'm looking for a connection. I have a problem.
Okay,
Okay.
no, that happens. It happens. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm
Good.
trying to practice as many as I can.
As much as you can. Good. That's what we like to
Yes.
hear. That's what we like to hear. So we're going to have a look at part 3 now. So you can see the description there. Usually it will last between 4 to 5 minutes in the exam. The topic for part 3 will be linked to the topic that you speak about in part 2. It will be Q&A format, so you don't have to provide a long turn in part 3. That's just for part 2. But the questions will be more abstract. So you should make sure your ideas are clearly structured, and you should justify and give examples to support your opinion where appropriate. So we looked earlier on in the class at the topic of ambition. So I have some questions for you now on this same topic. Are you ready, Jeremiah?
Yeah, I will try. I will try my best.
Good. Okay, so first question, Jeremiah, do you think it's important for people to have ambitions?
Yes, definitely, because it's become a fuel for you to get going, whatever goals you want to have in your life. And also having ambition makes you feel you're having a purpose in life and make you feel that you need to do more and become better version of yourselves. For instance, many younger people have this ambition, and because of that they have this direction in life, and they will push themselves until they achieve those ambitions.
Do you think it's more important for young people to have ambitions than older people?
Well, I don't think that the age should be matter if you want to achieve something. I think as long as you have this drive to have a something to improve about yourself, like you want to achieve a certain things in life, I even 60 years old or even a younger one can do these things as long as they have this effort and they have these visions that they can achieve something in their life.
And do you think children should talk to their parents before setting their goals?
uh, I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Sure. Do you think children should talk to their parents before setting their goals?
Well, I think they should consult their parents. It helps them to at least have some, to get some advice and to make some instant idea on what will be the pros and cons of taking an or going to some directions in the ambition in life. However, in terms of if they want to pursue this career or an ambition, I think the most important is that they stand for it and they will just get an advice, but at the end, the decision will be always be the thing that they want to be.
Okay. And finally, why do you think some people lose their ambition as they get older?
I'm not sure about that, but I think it because of the being pessimistic about the ambition in life. Some of them maybe tried many times, but they experience some failure, so it become a way for them to lose their hopes, and they end up losing also the desire to pursue their ambitions. And maybe for some, the reason is that they think that age is a big factor that they will have become a burden on how or what how can they achieve their ambition.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Jeremiah. So some nice responses there to the questions. I like the fact that you were expanding a little bit more than last week. So that was good. So you're giving examples of your points to try and make them clearer, to try and demonstrate them. You providing contrasts as well to try and make your points a bit clearer. So you're talking about pros and cons. However, the most important, so you were using, I think, more structure in your responses. And then I liked your response to the final question when you said, I'm not sure about that, but, and then, you know, went on to develop. So just kind of giving yourself a little bit of time buying at the beginning of the question. And then obviously you went on to develop your points afterwards. There still were some occasions where the coherence broke down a little bit. So I think your response to whether children should speak to their parents before setting their goals, that I wasn't completely sure about some of the ideas that you were expressing there. I think that the coherence was lost a little bit. So just make sure that when you are giving responses to questions that the idea is clear in your mind. With the other ones, particularly the final question, your ideas were much clearer, but it was just, I think, in that second to last question where we lost a little bit of coherence. But as I say, definitely improvements have been made. Just a few slips in terms of grammar. When you said the most important, that was a good expression, but if you use the most important, we need to use a noun with it. So the most important thing is what we often say. The most important thing is, or the most important aspect, or yeah. And also, you said, I don't think that it should be matter. Yeah, I don't think it should matter. So yeah, just we don't use the verb there to be. Matter is already the verb. And then there was one point when you said even if I think you said even you are 60 or even younger ones, and then you were talking about ambition. But I would just to rephrase that a little bit and say, you know, whether you're older or younger, it doesn't matter. You can have ambition at any age. So I think whether would have been a good term to use there. Yeah, whether you're older or younger, you can have ambitions at any age. But yeah, like I say, definitely there were some improvements. So well done on expressing yourself and using some of those expressions to help give your responses a bit more structure.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay, so we've got time to do more practice. I can see we've got Edith and Jonah have joined the class, but your devices are not connected. So you need to connect your microphone before I can bring you in. So if you did want to practice, Edith or Jonah, you're going to have to connect your microphone pretty much now. Otherwise, I'm going to bring you back into the class because obviously we did some practice before, but we had a bit of a struggle with the topic. So let's have another go now.
All right, sure.
Okay, so Dan, we're going to move on to part 3
Okay.
together. So we're going to look at the topic the same topic as we looked at before, actually, but from the other perspective. So you should have more to say about this because we're going to look more at success
Okay, let me try.
rather than failure. Okay, so let me just bring this back. Here we go. So Dan, can you tell me what do you think success is?
For me, success is something that you have achieved or you have been prepared for you to be able to achieve that success. Oh, and also when you before you come into success, you have already at least I mean, if before you come to success, you before you come to success, you always I mean, you go you failed first before you go to success.
Okay. Is it okay to give up, do you think?
For me, it's not okay to give up because if you give up, you are not achieving your success. For me, you have to work hard on it. You have to at least uh, make hopes that your success will be able to achieve.
And in your country, what is the common vision of success?
In my country, I think people here are really they are achiever. If they want something in their life, they are doing their best. They're trying to at least make a solution on how they will able to get it, and that is what I think the Filipino has um, because when you want something, you're driven to at least do whatever you can.
What do you think is more important for people to become successful? Hard work or opportunities?
For me, it's hard work because if you really want it to be success, you have to work hard on it. I mean, people always people's always do whatever they can for them to be able to succeed in life. And of course, if you're a hard worker, if you're a hardworking person, you will be able to at least improve yourself to be able for you to become successful.
Do you think it's possible for people to be happy without goals?
I think yes, it is possible for the people to be happy even if they have no goals. But for me, having a goals is much more better than having none because you want to succeed in life and you want to attain something and you want to prove something in your life that you are successful, or I mean you are very you're an achiever.
Okay, thank you very much there, Dan. So
Thank you. Sorry
more
for that. I feel so
successful.
nervous.
Are you new to the IELTS, Dan? How long have you been practicing for?
Yeah, I have been practicing for 1 week and I am new for this, but
Yeah.
yeah, lots of my friends are helping me and
Good.
yeah.
Good. Well, you definitely did better in part 3 than in part 2.
Yeah.
There was definitely an improvement there. You're able to express more ideas. I mean, if you're new to it, obviously it can be really overwhelming, particularly part 2. It's like, oh my God, I've got to keep speaking for 2 minutes and I don't know what to say. So it can be a real challenge. But yeah, we did a better job in part 3. And I think,
Thank you.
obviously there is still a bit of nervousness, particularly at the beginning. But I think once you got a bit more confident, you were expanding your ideas more, which was good to hear. So yeah, you're using some good strategies. You're explaining your ideas, using because to give reasons for your opinions. You're using for me in order to show it was an opinion. We can use a bit more variety there. We can say, in my opinion, as far as I'm concerned, I think, I reckon. So we can use a few more expressions there, but it's good that you're using expressions to express opinion.
Okay.
And yeah, there was the nice expression that you used at the end as well, where you're saying, even if, which was just a nice kind of conjunction to link your ideas together and provide a bit of structure. So there were just some slips in grammar. So you said, if you want to be success, so either be successful or be a success, you could say. One of the two. And then you talked about work hard on it, but the preposition you want to use is at, to work hard at something.
Oh,
So work
okay.
hard at it, yeah. It was like driven was a nice adjective that you used there, to be driven. So that was good. And then you said people in the Philippines are achiever. I think just if you use a plural form, that would have sounded more natural. If you just said people are achievers, or
Yeah.
or people are ambitious, that might have been another way to express it as well. But
Alright.
so there's definitely some good things in there, Dan. Keep on practicing, because then your confidence will improve, and you'll get even better. I think you'll make improvements very quickly, because as you were saying in your answers to those questions, even though you found it really difficult in part 2, you still got involved in part 3, and you said, right, I'm going to get better, I'm going to do a better job. And I think every time you do it, you're going to get better, because you've got the right attitude. So yeah, well done.
Thank you. I'll try again next time. I promise.
Good. Good. I look forward to it. Thank you. Take care, Dan. Okay, so thank you to all those who have participated in the class today, for those watching on YouTube and Facebook, and also for those, of course, who have participated live in the class. It's been great to hear you giving your responses, and I look forward to doing more practice with you next week. Just before I end the class today, for those who are watching us on YouTube and Facebook, if you would like to get extra support in your journey to achieve your goals of living and working in the US as a nurse, then do join us on the scholarship program. You could sign up for that today and get extra support in terms of achieving those ambitions. So just click on the link in the chat box, or copy the link which you can see at the bottom of the screen, and you could get all of this support possibly for free. So once again, thank you very much for your attention and involvement in today's class. I'll see you again next week.